Hi, guys, and welcome to our fourth episode of
Yeah,
Romantically Readers
number 4.
Podcast. I know we're 4 in. We're off like our learners now. We're getting into we actually know what we're doing. I'm here with the amazing Alley. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. It's been a busy week, I think, for both of us. We haven't talked as much this week as I feel like we usually do on Instagram. So I can tell we've been busy. Both for me, I've been busy with work, reading, of course, as always. And my husband's birthday was this last weekend, so did some nice like hiking and movie and TV watching, which I don't usually do. I usually read with my
I
spare
know,
time, but I had
I
to
know, I know. It's that
continue
annoying
and
thing
watch
when
the
life
movies.
gets in the way and then you can't just read all the time, and husbands are
Oh,
so
the worst.
demanding. Like, it's their
Yes,
birthdays. It looked
I know,
amazing,
right?
though. How was his birthday?
It was really good. Yeah, we watched several movies, watched a TV show. We watched Past Lives and we watched Saltburn. I liked both of them for very different reasons. Saltburn was a little weird, but I think it pitched itself as that. So I
Yes,
wasn't,
I've
surprised.
heard, like, it's a bit of a TikTok sensation, Saltburn. I haven't watched it,
Yeah,
but I love Jacob Elordi, which means you know who
I
it is
know.
now.
Yes. If you guys have listened or watched our fan casting, we talk a lot about Jacob Elordi, and I didn't know who he was. And then, like, just a couple days later, I went and watched Saltburn, and the whole time I was like,
Disappointing.
"Oh, that's who that is."
Right, that is who that is.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yes, yeah. And then I went on a hike in a very cool slot canyon. So, for listeners who don't know, I live in Utah. We have really, really great hiking here. And it was a new slot canyon that we got to hike in. That's kind of my favorite place to do hikes because it's just so cool. But yeah, it was a great birthday for my husband.
Amazing.
How?
That's so good. My life has been not quite as exciting. I've just had getting ready for Christmas, kids finishing school.
Yeah.
So that's been keeping me busy, but I've been kind of covering the content, getting all that out to you guys, getting our little snippets on Instagram and things like that. I watched a great movie as well, though. I actually put the books down, even though I've been in the middle of my marathon, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But I watched
Mhm.
The Creator, and I was
Love that movie.
blown away. I love sci-fi, by the way, guys. Like, I'm a massive movie fan too. And I haven't watched a good original sci-fi movie in forever, like forever. And this movie, I
Mhm.
I went into it had mixed reviews. So, but I'd seen people saying this is like the greatest sci-fi movie. This is one of the best sci-fis of our generation. And I was just wow, wow. I was crying. My husband was crying. Like, he doesn't cry. He does not cry. And he was there. I'm there trying to hold it in. Like, I'm like, and I turn and
Yeah.
he's like, we were both a
I
messes.
saw that maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I can't remember, but I saw it in the theater, with an empty theater, there was nobody there, kind of crazy, but
Nuts.
it's so good. Both my husband and I really, really enjoyed it, thought it was a really
Mhm.
good movie, so if you guys haven't checked that out.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but I was very emotional. I'm not like I don't really cry. I don't even really cry in books, like, I get really tense and anxious and worried, but I don't ever actually cry. My husband cried though, but he cries in, like, every movie ever,
He
so
cries at everything. So wait,
yeah,
did you cry like in Iron Flame or Fourth Wing? Like when
no.
No.
No. No, but
Oh,
I recorded my reaction, but I was just really tense. If you look at the video, I'm, like, hiding in my sweater like this because I'm so scared of what's gonna happen. So I didn't cry, but I was just so, so anxious. I think that's for me, I just get so wrapped up in it that I almost can't it's like I can't experience my emotions enough to cry because
you're
I'm so
processing.
engrossed in what is happening.
Ah, I would call myself like a I'm like a medium crier. Like, I don't cry easily, and I'm pretty good at
Mhm.
holding it in. Like, I didn't cry with Liam, even though I was extremely emotional. But okay, Iron Flame spoilers. I mean, if you're here, you've read this
You've
book. Like,
read
I
it,
don't think
yeah.
there's any reason to say that. But when Lilith died, I was a bawling wreck. Like, I think being a mum, I was so connected to her character and her just giving herself for her kids, and I was crying. I was just blubbering. Like, it was
That is a
all
really
that
emotional.
emotion just hit
Yeah.
me, and yeah, but it was it broke me apart and I loved it. And then Zayden happened and I was already broken, and then I was just double broken.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't function for about 48 hours because I was just staring into space, just trying to process what had happened.
Definitely. Yeah. It was very hard to read, but no crying from me, but still very, very tense, lots of anxiety.
Well, that's going to be our
Um,
aim on this podcast then. We've got to find a book that's going to make you cry, Allie.
yeah.
Like, the challenge is being set. We're like, right, what is
I
going to
love
make you
it.
cry?
I love it.
Everyone, send in your recommendations, the books that make you cry, like really, really good ones. You're going to have to
Oh my
send
God.
in.
We're going to get all these recommendations. I'm going to read them and I'm just going to be an emotional wreck. That's what's going to happen. Our listeners are going to be like, challenge accepted. By the way, there are 70 of you listening to this. How exciting is that? There are 70 people who have listened to, at least on Spotify, which is kind of what I look at a lot. And I think we also have some YouTube watchers. So this is so exciting.
I know. I think we've got like 8 subscribers so far on YouTube. So we're but
Right.
you are 8 extremely special, amazing people. A couple of them may be family members, but that's okay. We will take it. We
Yep.
are, I think Instagram at the moment is our big platform that we're
Our big
really
platform.
building our people there. And slowly but surely we will get people over to YouTube and Spotify. But it's so exciting. And I love having these real conversations and not being held to 90 seconds that the reels will allow you on
Yeah,
Instagram.
and being able
So
to go on tangents and everything. But, when we make it big, those of you listening now, you're gonna be able to be like, "Oh, I followed them from the beginning."
and you will get special treatment, by the way, too. You will be VIP members. Like, we will be
Yeah.
I'm sorry, our first 100 people will be very, very special to us and will always
Yeah,
be close to our hearts. So
absolutely.
no, we will
Absolutely.
remember you.
Especially if you leave us a comment or, do like a Q&A on Spotify or give us a rating and subscribe. Those are all really great things for us.
That's it. We love it. All right. So going on to a little bit of, well, maybe you haven't done as much reading this week, but what are you reading at the moment, Allie?
Yes. So if you listen to last week's episode, I talked about reading this Icelandic kind of Viking book. I finished that, loved it, 4 stars, solid 4 stars too. And I'm a pretty tough reviewer. Like most books, I give 3 stars too. So 4 stars, really lots of twists and turns that I did not see
Ooh.
coming, and I really like
Yeah.
that. So it's called The Road of Bones by
Love it.
Demi Winter.
Mm-hmm.
Really recommend that. It's on Kindle Unlimited for those of you who subscribe to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started book 5 of the Plated Prisoner series, and I'm about 80% of the way through, and I'm really struggling because I'm just so scared. I do this all the time when I get to the end of books. It's like I voraciously read it, and then I get to like the last 20% and I really slow down because I'm like so scared of how it will end.
Yes.
So, and I know that you have been really engaging with this series.
So for all of you, anyone that hasn't heard the previous podcast, so Ali recommended the Plated Prisoner series about 2 weeks ago. And the fifth book, Gold, was due to come out in about 12 days at the time. And I was like, right, I'm going to set myself a task. Can I read all 4 of the first books in 12 days? Now, oh my God. So I've been healed from Iron Flame, right? I was so broken from Iron Flame, and I have risen out of the ashes like a falcon, and I am just, this is amazing. This is so good. A phoenix is what I was meant to say. So I read the first 2 books I read them in a day and a half. A day and a half. It was so good. The slow burn is, and the MMC is delicious. Like,
one of my top of 2023, I will say.
Yes, 100%. So good. We are talking Fae. We're talking like another world, multiple kingdoms, magic, slow burn romance, enemies to lovers. Really, the FMC, like, she's just been so traumatized and she's coming out of that. There's so much in these books and they are amazing. So yeah, first 2 went through so quickly. Third one as well. Third one was just like, oh, that was so good.
Yeah, the third one is what really hooks you.
Yes. And that's when the spice really kicks in, which, oh my gosh, ladies. Now, you said spice, right? You said, yeah, this is pretty spicy. What I realized is there a, like, you talk about spice, but then there's different levels of spice, right? Like there's
Yeah. And almost like
clean.
different genres of spice. It's like it's almost like when you give a spice rating, you also need to be like, here's the genre of the spice as well. Like,
Because this is, if this is a dirty spice, guys, this is a
yeah.
dirty martini spice. Like this gets right down, it rolls in the dirt. It is just, and it's
Yeah.
fabulous. It is.
And got kind of dark, dark romance genre of spice, like really, really nice. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So the fourth book is much bigger. So that one was maybe a couple extra days, and I literally was getting down to the wire with getting that done in time. But I got it done. I got it done before midnight. I met my marathon target. So yay for doing that.
That is so impressive. So impressive.
It was really not that hard. It was honestly not that hard. But
Because they're
my
so good.
heart, now I'm going to start talking about the spoilers here, guys. So if anyone hasn't read this, maybe just jump a few minutes because we might talk a bit about what happened in the fourth book and what started in the fifth book. So flick forward 5 minutes. But here we go. So yeah, the fourth book, when she gets captured and goes to Second Kingdom, and my heart was breaking. Like poor Orange, she
Heartbreaking.
has been through so much. Like just
Mhm.
it's just been so tough for her, and she finally gets ahead, and
Mhm.
then boom, she's captured again. She's back in a cell. People are treating her like crap. You're just like, oh my god. And then Ravager comes in, and he just becomes a villain, and he just
Yeah.
destroys everyone. And I'm just there for it. I'm just like, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
be her villain, be her
And he
villain,
says that.
Ravager.
He's like, I will become a villain for you. And he does. And it's so good.
Oh, I needed it so bad because she's been treated like crap, guys. Like she could not have been treated worse.
Yeah.
She needed a villain, and he delivered, and it was epic.
Mhm.
Just killed everyone. I loved it. And then we jump into the fifth book and everything that happens from, I don't know, do you want to talk a bit about it? So I'm up to chapter 18 so far of Gold.
Okay. Okay. So, at the end of book 4, she gets Rip opens up another Rip and sends her. We end book 4 not really knowing where she's going. We suspect she's potentially going to the Fey realm, but we don't know for sure. Sends her into a Rip. Then the book 5 starts, and she is now in Anwin, the Fey world. And Rip Ravager is back in Araya on like the Earth version of it.
And
And
he's
it's
trapped
so
there now.
heartbreaking. What?
And he's trapped there now. Like he
He's
can't get to
trapped.
her. His rip power has gone, and he
Yeah.
can't open another rip. And the rip he'd previously opened has closed up. His magic has
Mhm.
changed.
And he is losing it. He is losing it. He is not doing well without his love.
No. His woman is gone, and he is pissed. He is pissed.
He
And
is
all those
really
people
pissed.
that tortured her, he is now like, he has got it
On a
out for them
rampage.
now. He is full villain
Mhm.
mode. He is like, if I
Mhm.
can't have her, I'm destroying all of you in the process.
Yep. And it's really good. I Raven Kennedy, the author, has asked people to, done a challenge, record yourself reading the last couple of chapters. I'm not there yet. I'm still in the 40s, and the chapters in the 40s, and the chapters go to the 50s. So I think I'll record the last 3. But I'm so scared because I've watched people recording at the very least and seen their reactions and just been like, oh no, I don't want this to happen. I'm so scared.
And I've already been traumatized enough at this point. Like
I
even the
know,
last
I
one, I was
know.
like, I'm not coping with this going bad again. Like I just right now, I just want
No, and
everything to work out.
there's one more book, so, like, I know that this could end on a terrible cliffhanger, terrible heartbreak, and we don't really know what's gonna happen for a while, and I don't know if book 6 even has a release date yet.
Oh,
So,
crazy,
yeah,
crazy.
we're gonna be tortured. We're gonna be so tortured.
So tortured. But it's going to be worth it. So, guys, as you can see, this is an awesome series. Like, this is a
It's a great
5-star
series.
series. It's really, I highly
Mhm.
recommend go out and read it. It's and share your thoughts and opinions if you are reading Gold right now, or if you have started this series. Comment and let us know. We're right in the middle of this right now. We're super
Yeah.
excited, and yes, enjoy, because these are some seriously good characters. And this
And
is
if you haven't read this series, I'm, like, so jealous because now you get
to
to read these
enjoy.
again for the first
Oh,
time.
It was everything, just a whole 4 books. Like, my husband's like, "Are you okay? Oh, this is so hard." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, it's a real struggle. It's a real
It's
struggle getting
really
through these
hard.
books."
I'm really dedicated to my fans.
I know, I know. The things I do. I'm now like Team Slade, King Ravenger, Rip. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hot. Definitely top 5. Top 5 for me, for sure.
I know. He's definitely one of my top 5. I'm excited to do that. I think just listeners, so you know, I think we're gonna do like a New Year's episode where we talk about our top 5, MMCs from the year, and some of our top 5 books. So you've got something to look forward to. I've already started thinking about mine, and I'm getting really excited to record that
Yes.
episode.
Cannot wait. Yes, lots of exciting things to come. So, without further ado, we've still got a few more theories and things about Iron Flame to talk about. So, we're
Yeah.
going to bring them to you today. And we might start with Allie and jumping into still some of the theories we haven't discussed here yet that you've got to share.
Yeah. So this is sort of like the theory that I have today is an iteration or an evolving of a theory that I previously talked about here. I talked about how I thought Captain or Colonel Atos was potentially villain. And so many people were like, well, if he's allied with I said villain, I meant venom. It's
Mhm.
hard. But maybe
Same
that was
thing, same
intentional
thing.
by her. Yeah. So, and how I thought he was either venom or allied with the venom. And so many people said, well, he couldn't be because the venom clearly want Violet alive and he clearly wanted her dead. And I didn't really have a good explanation for that. But now I have a good explanation. And
Awesome.
here's my explanation.
Yep.
I think that several years ago,
Mhm.
potentially around 20 years ago,
Mm.
Navarre leadership decided to experiment with venom power in an attempt to fight the venom themselves.
Okay.
I think that that maybe got away from them. So I think Colonel
Oh.
Atos either is a venom himself, or if he's not venom himself, is at least kind of part of this contingent of people who experimented with this venom power. Because we know that Varish was venom, right? There's so many
100%.
things. His dragon had the glassy eyes that Jacks
Yes.
have.
Yes.
I think there's this whole network, but they maybe potentially are a separate faction from the venom that are coming after Navarre, and they're just Navarre leadership kind of experimenting. I think this is why Nolan and generally Navarre leadership was so obsessed with studying and curing Jack,
Yes.
because they themselves experimented with this. And hear me out, I think there is a potential that Violet's mom was one of the people who experimented while she was pregnant with Violet. Or her father experimented prior to the conception of Violet. And that would then explain why Violet has the silver hair, why she
Oh,
has maybe more power than others, why her
yes.
signature of itself is pure
Well,
power.
like,
So that is where I'm currently leaning.
oh, at the same
More than
time, though, surely Lilith, like, she loves her kids. And would
that
she
is
put that risk on
absolutely
her
the truth.
kids? Like,
Yeah. But
yeah.
maybe she did it right, because clearly all of her motivations are to keep her kids safe.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that she maybe didn't do the best things to do that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't know that she was pregnant with Violet. Maybe it was actually her dad who did the experimenting, because he
Yes.
was not a writer, did not have power. But I don't know. I think it's so interesting,
Yeah.
Violet's white silver hair.
Oh,
To
we
me, that's gotta
definitely,
mean something.
yeah, we definitely know that there's some kind of connection to the venom there, because
Mhm.
Lilith seemed to have so much knowledge and fear about the venom.
Yes.
And even when
Yeah.
Violet was stabbed outside Navarre, it was kind of clear that Lilith was concerned. She has
Mhm.
knowledge of this. And we know that they've created the
Mhm.
serum. So they have done, obviously, at least some experimentations. And she keeps talking about that she did everything she's done to protect her family. And I think that she has known that there's something quite evil outside the realms of Navarre, and she has gone, it is my priority to protect them within these borders. So whether that
Mhm.
is Violet's dad, whether that is that she has become infected and she is trying to use the serum on herself, or was it Violet's dad? We don't know. And then, of course, yes, there is that connection to Atos. Atos was her like second in command. So,
Mhm.
you know, there is obviously the possibility that he was the venom and he was the one being tested on. But he's such a straight shooter as well. Like he's so like, but you know, just knowing how much Dane is by the freaking book,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
assume that his dad is as well. And
I
yeah,
don't know though, because this, why would his dad send assassins after her if he was, I
yes,
must follow all the rules. And multiple sets of those assassins had red rimmed eyes. So we know at the very least that Colonel Atos sent people who were Venom to kill Violet.
yeah, yeah,
That I think we can very clearly
100%.
infer.
Either,
So
yeah,
that's just
either
really interesting.
either like wanting to do that or doing it without realizing it. Because look, we know for
Mhm,
sure that
mhm.
Verish and that and Naolan potentially are Venom. They are Venom, and
Yeah.
they potentially have what the theory now is the whole second squadron might be Venom. Like, or they're turning
Yeah.
them slowly, like secret
Mhm.
invasion. And so, yeah, everyone that tried to kill her was Venom. And then this is the bit that gets me because I'm going to talk shortly about a theory that I have about Liam and the torture scene. And on the one hand, they're trying to get all this information off her and test her power. But on the other hand, it's like they've been trying to kill her. And the two don't make sense. It's like, what are they trying
Mhm.
to do? Why is Atos trying to kill her? But then the others are just trying to get information off her and potentially get her off to the Venom to, be used and
Right.
controlled by the Sage. So it's very bizarre. It's very bizarre at this point, and
I
I
think
don't
there are
know which
just a
way it
lot
even
of
points
different
at this point anymore.
I know. I think there are just a lot of different motivations at
Agendas
play
going
here and
on.
agendas, that's the right word, yeah, that we don't know about yet, which makes it so good, right? Like, that's why we can have all these theories and thoughts is because there's so many
I know.
different agendas that we're trying to unpack them all, piece by piece. So
Exactly,
mhm,
exactly. But yeah, I think either Atos is Venom or he is working with the Venom, even if it's that he's quite proud and he's got his own agenda, but they've got their
mhm.
agenda and he's being influenced by them in the
Mhm.
background to kind of
Or he's working with a Navarre specific faction of Venom that is different from, this outside force of Venom, right? There
yeah,
could be these two kind of different factions of Venom at play here
yeah.
that have different agendas, right? And
Yeah.
different things that they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So no,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting theory, and I'll be interested, guys, to know what you think about this
Let us know.
and get your thoughts and opinions on
Yeah.
Colonel Atos. So,
Mhm.
yes.
What's your new theory,
Yeah.
Nicole?
So I was in a bit of a discussion this week with someone on Instagram, and this was around Violet and the torture scene with Liam, because they were talking about that Violet, the second signet that Violet can speak to the dead, and saying that they don't think that Violet can speak to the dead, which, look, I agree with that. As much as I would love
Yeah.
it if Liam was like, if she was speaking to the dead when she was talking to Liam, I do agree that I don't actually think that that was happening in this scene. However, I do believe that this scene was significant and it is to do with her second signet, just not the way that we think. So the first thing was that, or the first sort of query people had was they said, well, she was on the serum at the time, so she was disconnected from her power. Now we know that she was definitely disconnected from Tarn's.
Weird.
Still can't say that, guys. I'm just going to stick with Tarn. His power. But we don't know about Andana, right? Because at the time she is sleeping. And what we know now is that she is the seventh type of dragon. So we don't actually know if she is impacted by the serum. However, regardless of this, with my theory, it wouldn't matter anyway. Because what I'm going to suggest is that actually Violet wouldn't have been impacted because we're actually talking about Violet in the future. So what my theory is that her second signet with Andana possibly mixed with Tarn's all-encompassing power, because as we know, it's not just lightning. That's just how it's being used at the moment, but it's
Mhm.
just
It's pure
full
power.
full power. So we don't know how that's going to mix with Violet's second signet. But I do believe that her second signet is going to include the ability to time travel. And when we think about already her baby power, with Andana has been that she was able to slow time down. So if we think about her big power, it could be time travel. Now, my theory is that future Violet knows that she cannot break to Verish in this moment. She knows he is working with the Venom, and she knows that if he gets that information off her at this time, it would be a huge risk to what they're obviously trying to achieve in the future. So she knows it is imperative that she goes back in time in the vision of Liam to get herself through that torture. So, yeah, my theory is that she manages to go back in time and actually support herself through that time.
I love that theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that theory so much. I
Yeah.
think it makes so much sense too because, you know, signets are based on need.
Mm-hmm.
Violet needs information from the past that she
Mm-hmm.
cannot find any other way.
Yeah.
And, you know, she has, as far as we know, exhausted the resources like available to her. The manuscripts are available to her from the past. So she needs to be able to go into the past in lots of other different ways
Yeah.
to get what she needs to save her loved ones.
Yeah.
So I think that would make a lot of sense. And I think there's a lot of really cool things that could happen if she time traveled.
Yes, yes. And we're talking about her maximum power. Like, we're talking about future Violet. This could be right at the 5th book when she has fully amassed her powers. She's maxed it. Like, when she begins, she might not be able to do this level of time travel. It might be something that she grows over time. And I do still agree with people. A lot of people have suggested the kind of the wielding, that from a short distance, she can maybe just jump into people's minds and see through their eyes. But then the extended from a distance, exactly your theory, the extended will be that she can potentially travel time and that. So I think it's a pretty solid theory. I do truly believe that something significant was happening in that scene, because the other thing is Rebecca Yarros has said she was just hallucinating at the time. Now, let's also remember, do not believe everything that Rebecca says, right? Because no. She said, I kill characters off and I let them stay dead. Yeah, well, that worked really well with Jack freaking Barlow.
Right. Except for when you didn't do that in your very first book in this series.
Exactly.
Rebecca.
Liam can just quietly die from like 0 injuries to his own person. But Jack has a mountain fall on him, and that's fine. He can come back from the dead.
He's still alive. Oh, and by the way, Brennan was alive.
Yes.
Right? We thought Brennan was dead at the beginning of the book. He wasn't.
Yes.
We all have lots of theories about how, like, Naolan is potentially alive. Xaden's mom is potentially still alive.
Papa Sorengale possibly
alive. Dad is
alive.
potentially still alive, right? Like, I do not trust everything that Rebecca Yarros says. I think she's playing with us. I really do. I think she's having so much fun with all of the
destroying our hearts, breaking our souls. Yes.
Yes. And so she's trying to like lead us on little rabbit holes that are wrong. But that's what if I ever wrote a book that people were doing this with, I would do that. I would intentionally lead people astray.
Exactly. Anyway, I think because Violet says in this scene, obviously I'm hallucinating, that instantly tells me that she's not hallucinating.
She's not.
Something else is going on. And so much information is said through that scene, the back and forth between Liam and Violet, that just suggests to me this isn't just a figment of her imagination. I truly believe that something is there, and whether that is really dead Liam or it is Violet or something else, we've got gods, we've got Melek, we've got so many other options it could be. My current theory is that it's actually Violet herself coming back in the image of Liam, but it will be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Have you seen other theories online about her second signet? I've only seen one that we haven't talked about on this podcast, which I don't necessarily know if I agree with. I've seen a lot of people talk about compulsion as like her second signet, like the ability to compel people to do things, kind of like a vampire.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm not sure that I buy the evidence, right? I think she's also just really persuasive. Like, the people are doing things for her because they love her, not because like she's compelling, like she's compulsive.
100%. I agree. I think that it's more just that they wanted to help her. I agree. I didn't really feel like it's solid. While I understand that some of the ways things play out in the book, it seems like it might have been her compelling them to do it, but I also just think they wanted to save her. Like when Rhiannon pulled the knife through the wall, she just wants to. And some people have suggested that she can expand other people's power.
Oh, yeah,
That
like, an amplifier. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Again, I'm kind of like, I'm sorry, that's just not big enough for my second signet, guys. Like, it's just not big
Yeah.
enough. It needs to be
It's
so
just
much
not
bigger
enough.
than that.
Yeah.
But
Agreed, agreed.
again, I just think that's Rhiannon's power expanding. All their powers are still in their infancy. They're growing. They're
Mhm.
getting stronger. I just think that that's actually theirs
Yeah.
getting bigger, not actually Violet's impact.
But I'm happy to be convinced otherwise. So leave us a comment, right? If you listen to this and you're like, you guys are so wrong. Here's all the 7 reasons why it's compulsion or it's amplification. Tell us. Let us
Yeah,
know. I really
exactly.
I truly love to be convinced that I'm wrong about something. It's my favorite thing in the world,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, I got an amazing theory, which I'd always have to bring up because someone literally sent me like 3 paragraphs of theory. And it was
Yeah.
around, actually, that was a huge theory. Should I bring it up and have a look? But it was around that, like, basically that Xaden is Malik and
Oh, yeah.
Violet.
I think you sent that to me because it was
Yeah,
so
it
fun.
was pretty massive. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
like,
to
the
bring it up.
idea is that while you're bringing that up, I'll say kind of some of the things that I remember, but some of the things that I remember were that Malik apparently means king, and that's really interesting, right? That's what Malik means, so there could be some kind of, maybe Xaden and Violet can become, like, the new king and queen and, like, the gods and, um, so something around that. That's kind of what I'm remembering,
Yes.
yeah, that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Malik had a fated lover, and, Violet and Xaden are now the new kind of Malik and his
Yeah.
fated lover.
This
That's
is
kind of
like
what the theory
this
was.
is huge. I like I
Yeah.
feel like this takes like a master's in Fourth Wing Iron Flame. All right, so this is from Amy Swanson. Amy Swanson, thank you so much for sending this through.
We love
Welcome
getting
to our
something.
podcast. All right. So this
Yes.
is what she says. I had a theory for Iron Flame. There are a few big things in both books. The gods, selective truths, the first 6, and 3 brothers. I have a feeling all the stories in the fables are selective truths. I think they are all connected to each other. The first 6 is where the venom came from. The 7th rider was the venom. There is an epigraph in Fourth Wing from the Book of Brennan that says the power from the dragons can corrupt if not controlled. I think one of the first 6 became overwhelmed by their power and let it take over. I think a part of the first 6 was the 3 brothers and the 4 gods. 3 and 4 is 7. Xaden, I think, is
Oh.
a descendant from Malik. Either his dad or grandfather, somewhere I think he was Malik, because Malik means king. Violet is Amari. Felix talked about how she can wield Xaden. Amari is queen of the gods. I think her and Malik were fated lovers, much like Violet and Xaden. He does have black and gold eyes like her dragons. She has blue eyes like Sigale.
I love that. I had never put that together,
No.
that Xaden's eyes are her dragons and her eyes are his
Yeah,
dragon. Oh, that's so
that's so
cute. I love
sweet.
that.
Little
Yes,
four-way. We love
you
it.
know what I love about this theory too, though, is we've talked about this in past episodes of this podcast, but we have not, like, dived into the religion and the gods here yet,
Yes.
and I do think that's gonna be really important. I don't think that Rebecca Yarros would create this whole, like, god system and
100%.
religion and the lore around it
Yes.
without that being important, and I really, like, I have really myself also been like, how do the original 6 connect to the 3 brothers, connect to the gods? And I love that they're like, "No, part of the 6 was the 3 brothers, then you have, like, 4 gods, and that equals 7." Like, that all makes so much sense to me.
Yes.
And I really, really like that.
I know. I know.
One other No, go ahead. I'm gonna
I
pull something up
love
that
how
I
this
found
one
on
has
Reddit.
brought the gods into this theory, and the thought that, like, Violet is the queen of the gods, like, she's Amari, and Xaden is the king of the gods, Malik. Like, that is huge, and I'm here for it. I'm like, you know how much I want him to be a king or prince, whichever way it is,
Yes.
whether it's Bennett or
Yep.
real, but that would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody else today on Instagram sent me a Reddit thread. Like, they were like, I want to send you all my theories, but actually there's a lot, so I'm gonna put them on a Reddit thread. So they sent them to me.
Yes.
So if you guys are into Reddit, go check out Joanna _Phantom, like Phantom, like Phantom. I'm not gonna she has like 4 or 5 theories that she's posted on this big long Reddit thread that I think would be really fun to read. I read it all, it's great. But one of the things that she brought up that I am still spinning with, so maybe next
Yeah.
time if I have an answer to it, I'll let you guys know. But she points out that there's inconsistencies between the fables and the stories about the brothers. Because the first time we're introduced to the brothers in Fourth Wing, they say that the first brother bonded a dragon, the second brother bonded a griffin, and the third brother was jealous, and so he
Yes.
pulled from the ground
Yeah.
and became a venom.
Mm-hmm.
But then in Iron Flame, the fable changes a little bit, and it
Mm.
says that the third brother pulled down power from the sky or opened up the sky to
Yes.
vanquish the jealous brother. But we thought that the third brother and the jealous brother were one and the same, but
Yes.
then in Iron Flame, it's like, no, the third brother. So anyway, I'm confusing myself because there's a lot here.
Mhm.
I don't even have an answer or a theory to this yet, but I think this is a really, really good catch and a really interesting point out. So
Yeah.
if anyone does have theories on this, send them to us. Like we said, we read all of your comments. We read your theories. We're really into this. So I just thought that was
Absolutely.
really
And
interesting as well.
it helps us to build our own theories
Yeah.
and come up with it. And if someone gives me something that I think they've nailed it, I'm like, oh my God, that might actually be it. So we love to share.
Yeah.
But that is so interesting. And I think we know that the stories that they're getting, that have been kept in the archives and that, they're not accurate. They're not
No.
accurate. They have hidden truths. And so we're only working with what we have available. And I think that's been so interesting the whole way through Fourth Wing, the whole way through Iron Flame. We're always fed that, but we also know that we're not necessarily getting the whole story. We're getting the
The
truth
truth.
that they've wanted to show us, not
Yeah.
actually what's really happening. So hopefully the
And frankly, theoretically, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame were written by Jacinia, a scribe. So there's also calling into question what we're, the first person narrative that we're getting. So it
exactly.
is really interesting. And I'm excited to see what happens with that in future books.
100%. Anyway, I think we will start to wrap it up and leave it there.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you have any thoughts or ideas or opinions or theories of your own, please like and comment, subscribe. We would love to hear your thoughts. Obviously, as you see, we will sometimes even share them if they're really like valuable and worth the
Yeah.
discussion. But we love hearing what you have to say. So, please comment, please subscribe, please like. Hope you've enjoyed being with us today. We will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for joining us.